Evening, people. My name is JR. Wow, it's been a while. It's been a while. I've been taking a long, well-deserved break. Just living life, to be quite honest. But we're back. We're back. The season's about to start. We're in pre-season now. I'm joined here by the one and only Marcelo, from Wengers House. Good evening, mate. How are you?
Good, bro. All is well. Thank you for having me on, man. We've been trying to get this going for a
A
while now.
long
We've been
time.
talking, so I'm excited that we're finally doing it. JR's got the coldest intro in the game. Coldest intro in the game.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. How have you been anyway, man? Do you know what? Before you get into that, just obviously we've heard the accent. So you're obviously not from the UK. So
This is
tell us
fact.
about yourself. Where you're
Yeah,
from. How did you obviously I take it you're a gooner, a fellow gooner. How did
big
you get
time.
into liking the Gunners? Tell us about yourselves.
Yes, sir. So yeah, my name's Marcelo. I'm from Boston, well, a city called Somerville outside of Boston in Massachusetts, USA. And yeah, so I started, following football around 2007 because it hit the States really late on. It wasn't really being televised regularly, the Prem, until '07. So, you know, I first saw Cristiano Ronaldo and he caught my eye because I was first really becoming a footballer myself.
Okay.
And so, I was a Cristiano fan, but I wasn't really a Man U fan. And I'd always had my eye on Arsenal, mainly because of Arsene Wenger himself, but also Jack Wilshere. I just loved Jack Wilshere from when he was like 16 years old.
Class
So
players.
when Cristiano went, I was always like had an eye on Arsenal. And then as soon as Cristiano officially left for Real Madrid, I officially made the switch. So I was, I was a Gooner starting in 2008.
Okay.
And so, the passion just grew from there as I learned what the pain of the next, 10 plus years was going to be. I kind of fell deeper and deeper. So here we are now, man.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you, sir. You should have really stuck with Cristiano Ronaldo, if I'm honest with you. But it's a pleasure to have. It's good to have you as a fellow Gooner. Tell the people about Wenger's house, because that's the first time I saw you. And
Right.
do you know what? One of the things that I've seen from your Instagram, guys, you need to follow it, to be quite honest, is the growth and the rapid growth. I mean, I started probably engaging with you probably about 2.5 months ago.
Yeah.
So I've seen the rapid growth that you've had within that time. But just tell the people about it.
Yeah, man. So I made my first post on April 8th of this year. And, I never anticipated that it would be growing as quickly as it has. But I am, I've lived in the same city my whole life. I've been away for uni and, summers, but I'm very involved in my community where I'm from, Somerville. And I'm also a teacher. So I teach at the high school or the secondary school that I attended as a student. And so everything that I've done within my own community has been it's just been very, people oriented and connecting people. And in university, I studied anthropology and international relations. So everything I've done, in most contexts has been about building community. And so the reason for the name Wengers House was because I wanted it to evoke more of a communal feeling, more of like a family or housemate feeling. That's why I refer to my followers as housemates, because I really see them as the center of the platform. And, I try to make that clear in responding to basically every single comment that has ever been made on one of my posts. The DMs, I'm always talking to at least 10 or 15 of my housemates, and they're basically like pen pals at this point. I've really become close with some of them, and I've learned so much about their lives, their societies, because it's such a global fan base. Most of my followers are in Africa and Asia. But I think that because there's a genuine connection there and I want to know what they're thinking, how they're feeling, what's wrong and all that, mainly with the Gooners, of course, is, there's a sense of trust or a community. And so that's really what I'm trying to build, is a community, because we are such a toxic fan base. And it's not entirely our fault, but the PTSD is real. And, everyone channels it differently. So I'm just trying to build a positive community. And, I really see a lot of different ways it can grow, different directions. So I'm just excited to see where it goes, and the housemates are at the center of it.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, if I'm honest, firstly, the growth has been amazing. But
Thank you.
in terms of your posts and what you discuss on your actual page, it's amazing. You know, I mean, typically now we're seeing a lot about the transfers on a lot of the Instagram posts, but you try to you touch on it, but you touch on other subjects as well. You go back to the past as well. I love that, and it keeps it engaging. You know.
Word, thank you. And I'm really glad that you noticed that and pointed that out, man, because I think that in the summer, it's very natural to gravitate towards almost exclusively that. But because most accounts and platforms are doing that, I think part of the growth that you were referring to is because I'm not posting things that most accounts are posting. And like you said, going back to the past, you know, this is Wengers House. So I can't call the platform Wengers House if I'm not paying homage pretty frequently to, you know, what got us here and what makes us Arsenal. So it's always a mix. And, you know, just like it is when I'm teaching students in Somerville, I'm learning things about Arsenal by running this platform, because I have to learn more in order for it to grow.
100%.
My knowledge has to grow. So it's been really fun, like learning things and then basically immediately sharing them on some occasions right after learning it. Like the thing I posted today about the Ajax. Did you see that post about the right, the Ajax kits? Like I didn't know that until I started reading the book yesterday. So, you know, as I'm reading and learning more, I just post more stuff, and I try to steer away from that transfer news too much, because at the end of the day, it's Arsenal. We know what our transfer windows have looked like in the past. It's a lot of talk and very little action. So I try to wait until the action's already been done, or it's like very imminent, you know?
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons I kind of decided to take a break, because I felt that, you know, like you said, there's a lot of talk and no action, and you can kind of find yourself talking about the same things when you're discussing the transfers that are happening at the moment. So I thought, you know what, take a break. The season's about to start. Reevaluate where you are, and then start again. And here we are. I thought one of the first subjects I wanted to touch upon was, you know, we're out of Europe, obviously, this season. And I wanted to find out from yourself if this is the year that Arsenal get back into the top four. You know, it's been since, I think it's 2015-16 season since we actually finished in the top four. So it's been a while. I mean, let's start with pre-season. Obviously, we've had a couple matches in Scotland, Birmingham, and Rangers. What's your takes on those matches so far? Is there anything to take from it?
Definitely, I think. So the thing that made Arsenal so painful to watch last season was the fact that we didn't have a single creative bone in our collective body. And that was because of Ozil being frozen out, Smith Rowe not being fit and available till December. So we didn't really have any energy in the final third. And we are finally, I think, in the last two matches, these against Hibernian and Rangers, we're starting to see creativity, little signs of chance creation that we didn't see the whole first half of last season. And obviously our form picked up for, you know, in 2021. But, you know, I actually wrote an article that I put out today. So check it out if you haven't, folks. Wengershouse.com, articles tab, called Creating Chances a Start, because we didn't finish any of them. And that's a huge problem. But we didn't even, like, Alba wouldn't have had a hat trick of chances for most of last season, right?
Yeah.
So in a way, he's almost not used to having that many opportunities in this side. So, you know, I think that we can be excited about more creativity being injected into the team as Arteta widens the scope from just our defense to moving forward. So I think there are good signs, but, you know, again, simple defensive mistakes are what have always killed us. And there were still some of those over the course of those two matches. So you got to take it with a pinch of salt.
And that's the thing, because I feel like last season, if there was any positives to take from it, you know, was the fact that we conceded so few goals. I think we had the third best defense in the league in terms of conceding. But then obviously you have the first two preseason matches. I mean, a lot of the fans I've spoken to are kind of, you talk about the toxicity. Sorry, there seems to be like I don't know. It started again already because we've kind of obviously lost the first match, drawn the second match. There kind of seems to be a fear that, you know, we're going down that same road of not actually doing anything. You know, Arteta out, etc. Is there concern from yourself, or is it just literally pre-season first 2 matches and this is a time to actually try new things out?
No, I'm definitely not concerned. You've probably seen the thing that's circulating about how don't worry, I'm not deluded, where we lost our first preseason match and tied the second before our invincible season.
Okay, I didn't even see that.
Okay, yeah. So we lost and then tied our 2 preseason matches before the invincible season. Now, again, I'm not deluded. We're not going to be anywhere near that kind of level, but it's preseason. And, you know, the one issue I have with some of the Arteta out section is that, and it's the same with the Arteta in folks, is that there's an agenda, right? You don't really want to hear or see the things that might support the other side. And so when anything is going wrong, you feed on it. And so I understand. I'm not surprised by the reactions of Arteta out. You know, it's just the same as last season. It's not, because you also have to remember we were one of the most informed teams for the entire second half of the season. And that's not silverware, but, you know, we're growing a lot.
And no, 100%.
You know me, I've been very strongly Arteta in since the jump, you know, before I started the platform, but, you know, So, yeah, he's got to improve, but he needs, you know, support. He needs to make some signings and get the funds for those signings.
Yeah, and before we touch upon the signings, you did mention before the fact that, you know, Aubameyang, we created the chances, but Aubameyang didn't put them away. Obviously, going back from the season previous, I believe Aubameyang scored about 11 goals that season, but previous to that, he scored 22 goals in the 2 previous seasons before that. Is there a cause for concern? I mean, if personally, I kind of felt that the misses were very poor. I think there's a touch of rustiness there. You know, just coming back from his preseason, the first 2 matches. For someone like Aubameyang, I just don't want him to carry that form that he had from last season into this season. I don't know if you've got that concern or if you feel that things will turn around.
I definitely share that concern, at least to a certain extent, because like I said a bit earlier, he wasn't even used to getting that many chances with us because we weren't creating that much. And, you know, there was some inconsistency as to where Alba was playing in the second half of the season. You know, when we were more productive, he was often out on the left. So, you know, he was playing through the middle. Was it yesterday? Yeah, it was only yesterday. And he got those chances. So, you know, one side you could say it's preseason. This is the time to miss those chances because you're finding your rhythm again. You're realizing that your teammates are actually going to be generating more opportunities for you. And then when the season comes, you know, he'll be striking. But based on what he's been like over the last year, well, not the year, really since the FA Cup, which I think is actually in like a few days' time is the 1-year anniversary of the FA Cup win, which is crazy. Yeah. So since then, I mean, literally since he officially signed the contract, I'm pretty sure in August. So it will be a year of not the Alba we know. And it depends largely on who we sign. So, and I know we're going to get to that, you said, so I won't push it. It just always goes back to it because it's such a crucial part of, you know, anything coming to fruition.
Yeah, no, definitely. And before we get into the signings, I want to put a special shout out for Nuno. Let me get this right. Nuno Tavares, who scored on his debut. You know, obviously he's back up to KT, but I think he had a solid performance for his first match. Looks strong, looks solid, especially going forward. And the guy said he's got a right foot as well, and he scored with his right foot.
And then he backed it up.
You know, he backed it up straight away. So well done to him. You mentioned that in terms of how we progress, then it does matter in terms of the signings. So obviously Tavares has just come in. Lokonga is due to come in imminently. It looks like Ben White we're getting as well. Do you think
official?
Exactly. is that enough to take us to that next step to get us into the holy grail of the top four, or is this more needed? What do you think would take us that step further?
Unfortunately, there's a lot more needed if we're talking about like a strong chance of top four and then eventually building for a title run. Guendouzi, Xhaka, Torreira, all due to leave. One of them gone. The other two, imminent, by the end of the summer, gone. So, Partey Lokonga is not enough. We need at least one more center midfielder.
Yeah.
And I love El Neni, but, he's one of those guys who will come in for a very specific type of setup or as a sub. But so we need another center midfielder. We need a right back. But the thing about the striker situation is we can't even think about getting a striker until one, Eddie is gone, and two, Laka either signs 1-year extension or goes this summer because he only has 1 year left. Yeah. So eventually I think we will need a striker. But right now I think the priorities have to be one more center midfielder, an attacking midfielder for sure, actually.
Yeah.
And a right back. But I honestly would put a right back as a priority over an attacking midfielder right now.
What do you know what? That's crazy for me because personally I feel that, I'm a fan of Chambers. Cedric as well. I felt that he was unfairly taken out of the team when he was doing half decent and he was getting forward. We know Bellerin's obviously looking like he's going to go. But for me, I think one of the biggest issues that we had, certainly up to December last season, was a lack of creativity. Now, I know we got Smith Rowe playing in that number 10 role, but Smith Rowe does suffer from injuries. So I kind of feel that for me personally, when we had Odegaard to back it up as well, it worked, I think that attacking midfielder role is critical for us. I feel we need someone in that position, but I feel in the right back, I know everyone's talking about the right back position, but I kind of feel that we've got a lot of players in that role. No? Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong, but I agree actually big time about the attacking midfielder because Smith Rowe is still first getting used to playing week in, week out in the Prem, which is in itself really rough. One plus, though, and is that we're not in Europe. I know that sounds really silly to say, but we've already accepted that we're not there. So we have to look at the bright side in that we can really, it's less wear and tear on our lads. And But Smith Rowe needs another attacking midfielder to push him because right now he's really the only out and out one that there is. And he had Ozil in training at least to study him and learn from him. And so, yeah, you're right. We definitely need another attacking midfielder. But Chambers, again, and he's a natural center back. He's not a fullback. And we just can't be – if we really want to rebuild, we need all of our starting 11 to be playing in their preferred positions, in my opinion. And, like, Cedric, great backup. I don't think he's special, a special player though. And Chambers, I'm a huge fan of. I would actually be down to keep him at center back over Holding long term.
Oh, yeah.
But I do think both of them will be gone within 1 to 2 years for sure. I don't see them as part of the long term rebuild.
Yeah. No, fair enough. Are you a fan of the Ben White signing? Do you
Huge fan. Huge. Yeah. Arteta's all about playing out from the back, but he needs someone who's also athletic. And Ben White is a very athletic player. People sleep on how fast he is as well. But he played for Bielsa. He's played Bielsa ball, right? So he knows what it's like to play out of the back. He knows what high intensity football feels like on a regular basis. Obviously, I would rather not be spending 50 mil on him. But that's the transfer market we live in now. That's the tax.
Especially in the UK. Yeah.
That's especially being in the England squad that reached the final. It is what it is. When you add it all up, it honestly makes sense. I would, it's frustrating we couldn't go for Basuma first because I would love to have Basuma. But Ben White is the perfect profile of a center back for Mikel Arteta, and I fully support the signing.
And I'll be honest with you, it doesn't seem like Arsenal seem to be really interested in the Basuma move. I mean, I thought that would be the priority, if I'm honest with you, to play alongside Partey. I thought that would happen
so quickly. I thought it would be like 2 weeks, because he wasn't playing in a tournament.
Yeah,
Crazy.
exactly. I'm shocked, to be quite honest. So you're saying that a large rebuild needs to happen before we can kind of look at that top four, you feel?
Definitely.
Yeah,
And we're further along in the rebuild though than people realize, because
yeah,
we are now in the world of social media. We all expect instant gratification in every realm of our lives. And so it's kind of conditioned us out of remembering what it means to maintain and recalibrate an identity of a football club. And that is what Mikel Arteta is doing. He's bringing it back to life, because it's been near dead or dead for a couple seasons now, at least.
yeah.
And so it takes time. And if you look at, I said this in the article today, almost all of his signings have been defenders or midfielders with defensive capacities. So it's very obvious what he's doing. He's strengthening the weakest link, which has been our defense for over 10 years now. And he's gradually moving up the pitch. So give him 2 or 3 more windows and we'll be very close, if not already in the race for top 4, if he gets the signings he wants and needs.
Okay, so a few more signings. What? So let me ask this question then. If he doesn't get that top 4 this season, and I don't want to be toxic here, but I want to be honest. If he doesn't get that top 4, and if he finishes, say, in 8th position, you know, we've got no Europe, we finish in a similar position as we did this season, are you still trusting the process?
Excuse me. If we finish in 8th, I will be seriously questioning it and will definitely have much bigger doubts.
Yeah.
And I would be much closer to the Arteta outdoor. I think top 6 has to happen.
Okay, so if he gets a top 6, then
I still fully trust it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you look at our squad, even when you add Lokonga and Ben White, even if you add James Maddison, I still do not think we have a better squad than any of the 4 strongest teams in the Premier League right now. We don't. So I don't think it's realistic to be expecting him to get top 4 this year. And another reason why it's really a long-term thing. It's going to take like 3 to 4 seasons, in my opinion, to actually get us being a serious team again. But I'm only okay with it because I've accepted it. Like, it took me a while to realize that it's going to be a long road. And, you know, I'm not saying that we should automatically keep Arteta for all those 4 years. You know, he has to get some more credibility back. We need to see consistent, entertaining football and less torture, which is what I said today. We need to see serious growth, but I still believe that, you know, he needs time before we can even truly stack up against those big clubs right now.
Yeah, we're going to wrap up shortly now. I think for me personally, and I know you won't agree with me. This is why I've put it in at the end. Is I think one of the biggest losses we're going to have this season is probably Xhaka. I think because of his transition play, the way he gets, you know, from defense to starting up the attack, I think he's a key player. And I think it's a Liverpool match last season. When he's not there, we don't look the same team, to be quite honest. And I don't know if Lokonga is really, well, I don't know much about Lokonga. I'm hoping he's that guy, definitely. But it takes a while to adapt to a league like the Premiership. So that's a big loss for us if Xhaka does go. So I want to see how Arteta deals with that. I think Lokonga is probably the player that is going to be behind the main guy that he's due to buy. That's going to replace Xhaka. I'm hoping that's the case. But we'll see. In terms of top 4 this season, for me personally, it's going to be tough. But like you said, it's all dependent on the signings that we make this season, and also how quickly they adapt. We've seen how long we're seeing Pepe play good football now, but it's taken him a couple of seasons to really show what he's made of, you know. So let's see how it materializes. I have got faith in Arteta right now. I'm not too concerned about the losses in the preseason. I mean, we completely changed the teams. Well, the one loss, and the draw. I thought we did play some good football. You know, if we had taken our chances as well, we would have won those matches.
Yep.
So onwards and upwards. We'll see with the Florida Cup how it goes. Listen, Marcelo, it's been a pleasure talking football with you today, mate.
Yeah, man.
Until next time, definitely got to do this again.
Absolutely, and I'll have you on my podcast in the next month for sure, bro.
I'd love to. I'd love to. Can you, before you go, can you just tell everyone where they can catch you with your Instagram and your podcast?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, man. So you can find the Instagram is just Wengers House, and the Spotify as well. The podcast is just Wengers House, and then for the articles and other things, you can just go to wengershouse.com. So check it out. And again, thank you, JR, for having me, bro. It's been a pleasure. I love what you got going on, and you know, I love seeing your growth as well. So we'll definitely be in touch, and I'll have you on mine in no time.
Nice one, brother. Onwards and upwards. Until next time. Peace.
Amen. Peace.